That's it. So thank you guys for being here. This is our learning session number 11, but this is our 12th learning session. So we had to see a lot so far. So we saw what Bitcoin is, how to use Bitcoin Core. We saw what Lightning is and how to use LND. We saw also some other tools like mempool, that space. But also we saw some proprietary tools like voltage, like ledger. So today we will talk about BTCPay Server. So I will let Bas and Parker talk about it more, and I hope you will enjoy it and you will learn a lot because this is something you can use for sure in this hackathon. So without going further, Bas, Parker, welcome, and I will let you start the session.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us. Since we're getting started today, we've got a chat here. Would anybody mind putting a 1 or 2 in the chat? If you're familiar, if you've used BTCPay Server before, put a 1. If you've never used BTCPay Server before, put a 2. 1? Oh, nice. Cool. So we got some new users. 1. 2. Perfect.
So we got a good mix here. That seems good.
Cool. So we'll do a basic, just kind of short presentation of what is BTCPay, why it's important, and why Bas and I care so much about it. And then after that, we'll go into a demo and we'll get it up and running. So anyone or all of you could use it today if you wanted to. So first, I'll start off BTCPay. We think it's the best way to accept Bitcoin. You've seen mempool, you've seen Bitcoin Core today. This is kind of built on top of all these things and will make sense as we kind of go through. All right, so BTCPay, the most important thing is there are no fees, no intermediaries. We are completely free and open source. Some people also do offer third-party hosting, but we'll explain that later. And most importantly, we are a Bitcoin-only payment processor. There are older versions you can use that do allow other coins, but our main focus is Bitcoin only. Here is what BTCPay looks like. This is the dashboard. Here you could have multiple stores, see all of your recent invoices and manage your stores, or even do a lot more than that, which we'll show further on in the presentation. So today we're going to focus on getting it up and running, so just installing it. Then after that, most importantly, how could you get paid using BTCPay as quickly as possible or in any way you see fit? And after that, how to innovate on top of it or build an experiment with ways that you see fit or ways that Bas and I could have never imagined using it. You may see your own use case after getting familiar with it. And if anyone has any questions, please in the chat, I'll be watching that. If you want me to pause at any time if I'm going too fast or just want to ask a question, feel free to put anything in the chat. And Bas, also tell me too, if you want to interrupt me and add anything, please feel free to do anytime. Okay, so installing, we have 3 different ways. You can do an Umbrel or a mine node, which you may be familiar with. It is a locally hosted hardware that is just your own node in your local internet. Below that is a Voltage or Luna node. That would be a third-party host that you'd pay like a monthly 10, 15 US dollars to have them host all the software for you. And then after that, if you're a dev and very familiar with the software and running your own web servers, you can run BTCPay completely on your own, strip it apart, use it however you see fit in your own new website or existing payment solutions.
Okay, so as you saw, here we go. we can do the mine nodes and all those little Raspberry Pis and everything. Of course, our stack is built upon Docker. So even though we show you a Raspberry Pi, as we say with the customization or the custom solution for it, you can do this also in your normal laptop or your PC, as long as you can run Docker and virtualize certain pieces of your software. You can run this stack anywhere, basically. It doesn't have to be this little dedicated Raspberry Pi.
And building on Bas's point too, we don't know how you run BTCPay Server. This is totally your own stack to use as you see fit. We have no data that we store on any transactions. Again, this is just a tool that you can use as you see fit in whatever hardware you can get to run it on, which is pretty much everything out there. And this is just a picture of my little node here. You can see the dust collecting on it. Once you get one of these up and running, for the most part, they will just run. And same with BTCPay Server for the most part. All the versions are backwards compatible. We do not try and alienate people as we keep moving versions later in the future, but obviously want people to keep updating with us too. So the second solution, this is what a third-party host would look like for BTCPay. This is Voltage. I think the website's voltage.io. We have another
Voltage.cloud.
Thank you. Voltage.cloud. And the other one is Luna Node, right, Bas?
Correct. And there is also nowadays a third hoster in the space. They reached out to us not too long ago. And basically what all these hosters do is they set up a little script so that upfront when you buy your server space and you want it hosted there, you just go through the motions of their form that you fill out. We'll show this later as well. And this third party that is now in this same kind of sphere as Voltage or Luna Node is called Dream Lab Solutions. They're in our documentation as well. They do a similar kind of thing. So there's getting more and more of those hosted platforms out there. That's basically where we're heading.
We want it to be, and this is a really nice solution for like a one-click, the quickest way to get your BTCPay server up and running. I've only got maybe another 10 slides here, and the rest of the time we're going to spend actually just getting a store up and running. If you had never used BTCPay Server or even Bitcoin before, this would be a way to accept your first Bitcoins as quickly as possible. And then further than that, this is, you could obviously run on AWS or DigitalOcean. Again, if you are comfortable developing your own websites or anything, this is totally use it as you see fit. But in that sense, you still you are responsible for keeping up to date with us. If you choose to, you could also just run it on the same version for years. We have people or our friends that we joke will never update, and they just let it keep running, and that is okay for the most part, but up to you.
Yeah, to give a little bit of perspective on this, you can imagine that there's quite big stores out there nowadays that use BTCPay Server. To give an example, Namecheap, the domain provider, they're using BTCPay Server as one of their payment options. They do about 190 to 200K transactions a year. So that's about 500 a day through their BTCPay Server. And this makes it that people get a little bit anxious when they need to update their software, because it's, it's a lot of transactions every day that need to go through it. And maybe these guys at BTCPay Server, they made a mistake, or there is a little bug or something. And then, well, their business is getting hit by this. So we try, of course, to prevent this by making good updates and making cool software. However, we can never know for sure, as everybody can fork off this code and can create their own versions of BTCPay Server. And if they just hit the update button and they didn't realize that we actually changed a little bit more than just the basics, we might, change certain parts that you had customized. We, as Parker said, we don't know how you run your BTCPay Server, so we have no idea, apart from what we're getting told, how Namecheap runs their BTCPay. So their version is like 4 or 5 behind or something, maybe three or 4, because they don't want to update yet, because they don't feel like, hey, these new options that you made are not something that we immediately use. So we'll just wait until there is a moment of, okay, now we have to update. So yeah.
And that's a little bit of the benefit of the first 2 options. With Umbrel and MyNode, there is a little bit of a or they have an OS that will tell you when you should update and give you notifications and a one-click to update. If you are on the custom solution at this end, it's totally up to you when you want to run it or run the update. So if you are a less technical user, the Voltage, Luna Node, DreamHost Labs, or MyNode or Umbrel are your best solutions. So now, most importantly, how do we accept Bitcoin? So here we're going to go through what kinds of invoices and how you could invoice somebody. Most importantly, point of sale. Earlier in the call, we were talking about that Senegal, you actually have people spending and accepting Bitcoin, a beautiful circular economy that we are still so far from in the West. And point of sale is the most important piece of that. You could have handheld POS device and even a Bitcoin tap card, little SAT signer, or it's tap to pay on your phone.
Yeah. So when we were last in Riga, we here in Europe, we have the conference Baltic Honey Badger, and we have our own little day, luckily. And one of the people that uses BTCPay Server in the Czech Republic, in Prague, I believe, they came up with these two little POS devices to us and donated to us as for us to make use of it. And basically, this was an eye opener for us as well, as in, hey, wait, there is a thermal printer on this device. There is a NFC card reader on this device. So basically, whenever you have your little LNURL card, your whatever kind of NFC card, you can just tap it on this device and have the same experience as a lot of people are used to on those kind of devices in a restaurant or in a bar or anything along those lines. Yeah, and as you see, we make a little receipt for you as well, always at the end of the transaction, and we put the QR code on it and the transaction of it. So yeah, the real point of sale instead of just e-commerce, it in such a real world environment, it turns into a POS device like this.
We've seen this is, say, on the left side, a little more experimental. On the right side is the one click. If you just create a store in BTCPay Server, you will get this example T-shop. And here you can change the images, change the descriptions, change the invoice amounts, and simply just show it on any sort of screen, whether it's a phone or iPad or any smart device that has a touch screen. You can show any of those invoices in person and create an invoice, whether it's on the cheapest phone you can imagine. Another big piece of BTCPay is crowdfunding. There's been a lot of really cool things people have donated to. I don't know if you're familiar with HODLNOT's legal defense against the fraud, CSW, or Craig Wright. BTCPay was how everybody donated to HODLNOT's legal fund. And Bas, what did they end up raising?
So it started off in 2019. That's where the picture came from. It at that point was necessary to raise about 20,000 to 30,000 US dollars to cover the first initial fees that were necessary then. And BTCPay Server was a option to do the first donations through this. And currently, this is still going on, this whole HODLNOT's Legal Defense Fund. It's nowadays run by people from OpenSats. And OpenSats still uses in the background BTCPay Server as the payment rails for this crowdfund. So behind that, you see a picture of Bitcoin Smiles, which is a project for El Salvador, which is led, or quote unquote, by our friend Pavlonex from BTCPay Server. And they started a donation campaign for this dentist in El Salvador to make the people in this community be able to go to the dentist and get their teeth done. And I believe they raised about 2 Bitcoin by now. And I saw in the chat questions about a crowdfund. Yes, I think that's a good idea. We can set up, if you want, a donation page for the Dakar Days. Or is this the actual crowdfund already?
I think they've got that up. Yeah.
He's already got it running.
He's already an expert. Nice. Oh, this looks great.
Awesome. So yeah, that's one of the main, or the two apps that are in BTCPay Server as standard. You can just simply click them on, and we'll show this in a second as well. And basically, if you want, you can set up this crowdfund within like a couple of minutes. That's why we built it as an app inside of BTCPay Server.
Another feature we get asked about a lot is you can host multiple stores on one BTCPay instance. Imagine if you're a little bit more technical than some of your family members or friends that own stores or need to accept and create invoices. You could be the person that runs the BTCPay, and each of them have their own Bitcoin wallets that you have connected to your BTCPay. BTCPay takes no cut of any payments or any royalties or anything. And same for your own store. This is, you were just hosting it for them. Imagine you're almost like a Voltage or an Umbrel for somebody else who couldn't imagine running any Bitcoin apps themselves. But it is pretty simple, as we'll show here in a little bit. So from here, this is where we're just going to get a little more technical. So there's other integrations you could do with BTCPay, whether it's Shopify or there's a service called Zapier. Say you wanted to, for your accounting, have a Google Sheet that every time someone does a payment, it basically puts in the amount and information about whatever sale you did. So a way to automate your bookkeeping, or even if you want to have an email receipt to somebody after they've made a payment, Zapier would be a really good way to make those, or make that connection, or use a webhook to send them an email. Bas, anything you want to add to that? Cool.
No, not really. There is what we're working on. We have Wouter Sami, who's a contributor to BTCPay as well. He's making a new plugin where there's custodian support. So right now, BTCPay Server is a Bitcoin platform, and it just does Bitcoin stuff. And however, lots of merchants do need some fiat in their lives. And what Wouter is building is a bridge between BTCPay Server and exchanges. Right now, he started working on Kraken as first exchange to do this with. But one of the cool things is that Zapier would be the plugin in the middle to automate this process. So there's, I think, like 3,000 different apps or something that you can talk with at Zapier. So there's always one that will fit your needs if you need to automate certain things outside of your BTCPay server. And slowly there's more and more plugins that we build as well ourselves that will find benefits with things like a Zapier.
Nice. And from there, we have a Greenfield API. If you wanted to have your own website, your own front end, ignore any of our invoicing stuff, but you want to use BTCPay as your accounting and how you create Bitcoin invoices, you can use our API to ping your store and create invoices. And I'll show a little demo about that in a little bit. And here are two example create invoice. I am a video guy. If you can tell, I don't sound super technically sound in some of these things I'm trying to explain, and Bas is jumping in and helping me. I'm able to use the Greenfield API and do the little bit of coding that I can, and I am not a developer by trade. So it's pretty amazing that with BTCPay, you can, with Greenfield API, make some apps yourself, even if you're not a very technical person, or say you consider yourself a developer. And last thing I want to show was what Bas was just mentioning a second ago. People build plugins on the BTCPay team to add all kinds of different features. Like we have the Shopify, these are all plugins we've had in there.
Yeah, so for example, the NFC support, what we talked about earlier on those POS devices, as standard out of the box, BTCPay Server doesn't do this, because why would it? There's no need for it. But if you do have one of those devices, you might want the plugin for it, right? To at least have the functionality and put it on yourself. This is also what we did with something called Ticket Tailor, where it's more a ticketing sales inside of your BTCPay server that does all the accounting for your tickets and all that kind of nice stuff. And this whole plugin system is slowly being rebuilt, where we make it a little bit easier for the outside world as well to build plugins, instead of just us having to explain it really well, because we made a little bit of a mess out of it over the years, and now we're revamping it. So in due time, it makes building your own little apps or things that you need or have necessity for within BTCPay possible. You can just make it then on your own. You apply it to the quote unquote marketplace or whatever we'll call it. We have no idea yet. But there you'll be able to find the plugins. You could see it a little bit like the marketplace of like a WordPress, where if you need a certain plugin or a certain piece of software, you will be able to find it. There's so many options in there. One might be really good, one might be bad. Well, over time, people will tell by rating or putting a certain effort behind a plugin to keep it optimized and updated and all that stuff. So give it some time, and there might be a whole lot of new plugins in here. This is just a snapshot of how it is right now. But this is growing, and we really want this to grow as well, because we can't think of all the use cases. There's always somebody with a new idea and a new way of using BTCPay or wanting to use BTCPay. So yeah, that's about plugins.
And if do you have something in mind that you've seen here that you don't, or sorry, imagine something, a plugin to build that you do not see currently? We have a Mattermost channel that anyone is welcome to join, and we have open. Actually, Bas, we can do more community open calls?
Yep, we do them. So there's multiple moments in the week or bi-weekly that we do development calls or design calls, or things that we call community calls, where we just go onto a Twitter space or sit in our Jitsi or wherever we find time and space to chat with each other. We're always wanting to hear or talk about stuff, or if you need help, we're always there to help you out if necessary.
And from here, that's pretty much all we wanted to cover from the slides. Now we have a couple different directions we could go. We could set up and install a BTCPay server, or we can show how to create invoices from an existing BTCPay server. Before we go any further, I just want to ask if anyone has any questions or anything they just want to ask us about before we keep going.
Yeah, before we show some stuff instead of just slides. If there's questions, please shoot. Otherwise, we'll just show some ways. Beginner guides. We have a whole web page full of documents of how to set it up. I can give the link.
Bunch of links in chat.
I'll drop a link for it in chat. There is a standard guide that we have in here that you can follow along. Basically, we tell you in about 4 to 5 steps how to install BTCPay Server, or how you could install BTCPay Server. You can just follow these, of course. There's many ways to do it, but for sure this is one.
Yep. For beginner guide, Bas, what do you think if we just did we set up a node real quick?
Sure. We can set up a Luna node, or we can set one up through Voltage. I don't know if the chat has any preferences. We could set up a Luna node, which gives you a little bit more freedom in the sense of how it's hosted. There's a little differences in how Voltage works and how Luna node works. So this whole hosting world of how they run your nodes, where Luna node gives you a full virtual machine. So you are responsible for your virtual environment. This means that you get full access to your Linux environment, etc. Voltage doesn't do this. they host a BTCPay server for you, which is all pre-done or set up. I don't know really how to word it. And you get a little bit less control. I don't know if there's any preferences. What do you say, Parker?
I'm leaning towards probably the easier one. If we're going to show how to create invoices, that's maybe let's go the easiest thing and also the more technical thing, maybe voltage.
All right.
I think we get that.
Let me share a screen.
I got my.
Let's see.
Cool.
Does that show something?
Yep. Nice.
All right. So basically what we're looking at is that I just created a new account on Voltage, and there is nothing yet. I didn't do anything. They're just showing me go into your Voltage account, and they tell me create a node. So that's what we're going to do. For the purposes of this demo, I think we kind of want Lightning enabled. So the first thing that Voltage makes you do in this case is start a Lightning node. It's gonna calculate some price and things like this. I don't need much, so I'm just gonna take the light node, create. We have to set a password and stuff, so give me 1 second.
Trying to connect to my node so I could pay the invoice that pops up for you.
That would be nice. Let's see. So it's now telling me that my node is being created. Does that show up again in the screen?
Yep. And the Voltage kind of makes you do this first so that when you start a BTCPay server, it automatically connects the Lightning node on top of it, and you don't have to do any other setup. All right, so I'm connected to my node. If you get a QR, I'll pay.
It seems that they didn't give me one.
Oh, nice.
Maybe I'm lucky. Who knows? It's still doing a couple of things, but as you can see, they give you some information about your node. As soon as you started it up, they will tell you which version they do, some node ID, the creation date, your LND version, because it runs on LND whenever you do it on Voltage. Are we still waiting for things? I think we should be fine. Let's go back to home.
Yeah.
Go to the nodes. Now we're going to be creating a new BTCPay server one. We're going to just put it in US. Let's call it BTCPay server Dakar. Target voltage node. So here it now shows me also that I have the Lightning node. It's able to connect this if I give it the password, of course. Now, do I remember the password? That's always the tricky part. Yeah, there we go. Log in.
All right.
And that's about it. That's how quick it is on Voltage. Right now, we have a new BTCPay server, and it wants me to log in. So,
something we haven't covered yet. Some of you are more technical will automatically assume this, but for those of you that are not as technical, we do not store any of your login information or anything. This is your software running on your machines, whether it's in the cloud or on a node in your house. We cannot restore your passwords for you or any of your users. All of these are completely have to be up to your responsibility to remember your passwords, save your logins. And if you are the admin for the server, actually in Voltage, I can't remember, Bas, if they don't let you have multiple users.
they do not. because it's a already quote unquote shared environment. This is the difference with Luna Node.
That's what it is.
Yeah, because it's basically they are hosting everything for you. And this makes it that you're more of a user kind of a type deal instead of really the owner of the whole software. Where Luna Node, as I said before, it gives you the full VM, the full virtual machine. So you're the owner and you're responsible for this machine. And at that point, we at BTCPay Server also give you full controls, which they can't do on Voltage because they are the owners of the node. And you are sadly not. It is, however, the fastest way to spin a new one up. For demo purposes, it's for sure good. If you lose this password, are your funds gone?
That's a really, really good question.
So yes, basically, if you lose your password to your BTCPay server, you lose the funds to a certain degree.
Yeah, I can answer that too.
To a certain degree.
Yeah.
There is your Lightning node, and your Lightning node is a hot wallet. This is hosted and always live. So if you can't log into your node, it gets kind of hard. However, your Bitcoin wallet, of course, you have your seed phrase, and you can take it anywhere, and you won't lose your funds because no one should know those words except for you. If you lose those, yes, then you lose your funds.
Yep. And that's the benefit of having Lightning, and well, obviously Lightning is built on top of Bitcoin wallets. So if you're just using your XPub, you'll always have your funds back because you have those seeds. It's only if you're running a Lightning node with, actually, I'm trying to think of LND. As long as you also restored your channels, you should be able to get your funds back, but you could lock yourself out of stuff. I was trying to think of some other edge cases.
So we saw a couple of passwords fly by at the moment. If we go to Voltage route, there is the password for your Voltage account. You can recover this because Voltage does have a recovery system for your password. Then there is a default password that they set for you whenever you create a new Lightning node. If you change this password, you might not be able to get back into your Lightning node that easy because that is your responsibility. And then, of course, as I said before, the seed phrase comes in your own responsibility for sure. So as I said, here they show you a default password. If you change this to something else, that's upon you. So don't lose your password.
And don't leave. This shouldn't be your place you store all of your funds. This should be a place to accept Bitcoin, and you can even pay people out of this, but especially if it's through your store and hosted in a third place, this should just be for accepting and sending Bitcoin, and it could be large amounts, but you just shouldn't keep all your Bitcoin in one place on here for safety.
Yeah, if it's hosted, it's always think about your security model. I hope that's something you can cover yourself, and we could never advise in really either because everybody has their own way of how they want to secure their stuff. But as Parker says, don't use something that is hosted as I'm a store hundreds of millions of Bitcoin on here, and I hope it's going to be fine. That would be, of course, a little bit, not smart. However, we logged into our BTCPay server. As I said, they give you some standard passwords. I use those to log in, and I'm able to get into my store or into my BTCPay server that we just created. As we already created the Lightning node upfront, and Voltage asks for this upfront when you create this new BTCPay server instance, they already check this box because it's your internal Lightning node that is being used for this store or for this BTCPay server. However, The rest is up to us. We can now configure a completely new store. And one of the first steps would be for us to set up a wallet, of course. We can either connect a existing wallet or create a new one. I think we're just going to create a new one, Parker?
Now here, if you do create this wallet inside of BTCPay Server, this is where you could lose your funds, and you want to make sure you write down that seed phrase. The other choice to import a wallet file, that's where you separate your XPub and your server so that you can always get your funds back. And BTCPay isn't storing any of your keys, just managing your wallet.
So the cool thing, quote unquote, about what Voltage does to at least make you do some security on your own keys is that they disable the hot wallet function. Normally, if you
did it for me.
if you host your BTCPay server yourself, you get the full stack, which includes Bitcoin D, LND, everything in containers, as I said before, in Docker environments. And then you are on your own and you're responsible for everything. What you then can do is create a hot wallet, of course, because everything is in your possession. You're owning the hardware or whatever it is, and you're responsible for this. However, as I said before, on Voltage, you're not, because Voltage hosts everything for you. And one of the things that they did, which is kind of cool, is that they don't allow you to create a hot wallet, because this would store your keys onto the server. And we don't want that. You would not want to store the seed phrase on this server, which is not yours and is being checked and hosted by Voltage. So the only option you have in this case is create a watch-only wallet, which will generate us the seed phrase, of course. For the purposes of this demo, I'm going to show it to you because I can't do it anyway else. But don't use them ever. We'll scrap the wallet after this demo. So we're going to give you the options as well to choose your address types. Nowadays, you can tick a box as well for the taproot if you want. We're just going to leave it with SegWit for now. And we're going to say continue. And then we show you the seed phrase for this server. I'm just going to, because I have to probably use it later on, put them all down here. So make sure you always write those down correctly, etc., etc. I think you've heard this today or in the past couple of days a couple of times. We always make you check the box, but be sure you write them down in the right order. In BTCPay Server, we make you read from top to bottom instead of from left to right. This is something that sometimes people don't really see, and they fill it out as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, where it's actually 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11. So keep that in mind. We're gonna click done, and with that, we created a new wallet, and basically we have a full store ready, or at least a wallet ready to make a store upon.
Nice. Before we go any further, does anyone have any questions so far? Just getting to this point. Next, we're going to set up a store.
No questions so far.
Do not be shy. Ask questions, because I mean you're learning a lot, so do not hesitate to ask questions.
We're eager to hear them. Same for you, man. If you have a question, shoot them.
And we got a lot of time right now too. So just another 40 minutes we're here with you guys, so happy to answer anything.
No questions. I guess we're just gonna make our first store, and then we probably will see some questions arise. So to kick it off back into where we started, whenever you log in after you created your wallet and connected up your Lightning node, this is the dashboard. This is also the slide that you saw earlier. We're very proud of it. 2 very great designers that worked really hard on this the past year, and yeah, we're kind of happy that you can now have one brief overview of how is my store performing. In the left menu, we just make you aware of, hey, create a new app. We can click this, and as we said before, as standard, we offer you 2 possibilities: a point of sale and a crowd fund. Do we have a preference of what we want to make?
Let's
we
go.
want?
Let's do point of sale since they've got the crowdfund running on their website.
All right.
To the store.
What do we call it? Dakar beach balls. I don't know. We're gonna sell footballs or
Yep.
something.
There we go.
Dakar
It's a little
beach
better.
footballs, and we're gonna name our store that as well. We're just gonna leave it in US dollars. Description: we sell footballs.
Oh, Bas,
And
I've got a random question for you while we're going through this.
sure.
If I have multiple stores and a crowdfund page up, does that dashboard chart that's showing me how much Bitcoin been paid, is that a cumulative to all the stores, or per store we have a dashboard for each store?
Every store inside of BTCPay Server, so our store is named BTCPay Server Dakar, will have its own wallet with its own little bit of accounting and its own dashboard. So if we would say we create another store and we would call it Parker's Web Shop, whatever, we go through the motions of adding the wallet and everything. That's your own dashboard, and I don't get to see this. So yeah, it's all separated in that sense. But whenever you look at your dashboard, it aggregates all the apps that you have. So if you maybe run 4 web shops in the same store and 2 crowdfunds, yes, this is all displayed in the same graphs in this one dashboard.
Oh, so that's an important. So within a store, you can have multiple apps.
Yes.
So each store in itself is not an app. There are 2 separate. Each store can have multiple apps inside it.
Yes, you could.
Cool. And an app
Okay.
we would just say is either crowdfunding or point of sale.
Correct. And due to the plugin system changing as we want, we will probably see more apps coming in the future. But yeah, that's for future stuff. Let's see. Can we? Okay. So as you can see, there's a couple of standard things that we add into a store whenever you create a new point of sale. We do this to make life a little bit easier so that it all looks a little bit easier to edit. I'm just going to delete a couple of those because I don't need all of them. But let's say we're going to change the herbal tea into a soccer ball. How much does it cost? Like $1. Yeah, let's see. Can I get a cool image somewhere? I think I can get a image of a ball.
Yeah.
I think this should. Okay. Soccer. And we can add inventory if you want. So BTCPay has a very basic functionality of inventory keeping. Let's say we have 10 of those, and we're gonna animate soccer ball. We get to set a text on the button. If we don't set anything, it will just be buy, I think. And at the bottom, we have to, of course, enable it to be visible in the store. Save this, see if the picture works. Yeah, the picture works. Let's do this one too. Let's call this a American football. Can we get a picture of American football somewhere?
One weird piece of voltage we've learned is there isn't a place to store files, like image files, within voltage. So you have to either use a publicly accessible link for the image. So you could host it on something like Imgur, or if you have your own site. He's just pulling links just from. Where are you grabbing these links?
I'm just getting these from Google. I'm just taking some stock images that have links to it. But as Parker is saying, because the way that you get your account on Voltage, or that they give you your BTCPay server, you're not the full administrator. As I said before, you're not fully the owner of what is happening there. And because of that, they don't allow you to access the storage system of BTCPay server. So whenever you host this all yourself or run it on your own hardware, we give you the option to do a little bit of storage inside of BTCPay. So we allow you to upload photos or assets or whatever to your BTCPay server through the file system that we have. So everything lives in the same environment, and you don't need to pull those links as I'm doing right now. So you can just click the assets in your file system.
And that's in everything else other than voltage.
Correct. So another thing that we do is a little bit of appearance that we give you upfront. We can give you just a list of all the items that you just see a list. We can give you a list and a cart, so it's like a mini web shop immediately, but also a keypad. So for the little PDA devices or the POS devices that people have, they can maybe just need to have the keypad where they just type in the price of something and then they get a receipt out of it. For demo purposes, I always like to take the item list and the card.
Bas, real quick, could we change the currency?
Sure. What do you want to change it
Go
to?
local to XOF.
Do that. Let's set it to XOF.
Thank you, sir.
So we can give users discounts and all kinds of codes that they can input. I'm just going to leave these as standard for now, because why not? We're going to say saved. So our app is saved, and now we can immediately view it, which is kind of neat. If we get the pictures as well, it's always the question.
Thinking about it.
It's definitely thinking about it. Always good in a demo whenever something doesn't fully work, eh?
Sorry, guys. Yeah. Maybe, yeah, I was going to say, do a default. It's a...
Yeah, I don't have any defaults anymore.
Never mind. One more store.
Footballs. We gotta go football, so doesn't matter. So it was. I'll just leave them with the green teas. It's easier.
Yeah.
I'll still do the item list and the cart. The principle is the same. Save. And then we view it again. Here we go.
Boom. Store up and running.
That's how quickly, basically, you could make a store. If my photos didn't mess up, then
Yeah.
it would have been footballs in here. However, now we have a tea shop. So, as I said before.
Oh, sorry. Let's say, do you want to hit a buy and let's see what the checkout flow looks like?
As I said before, what I picked in when I set up the store, I picked item list and a checkout directly next to it. So as you can see, you can just tap the items. Let's say we take a green tea and we take a black tea. Does anyone want another tea? A fruit tea, maybe, Parker?
Yeah, let me get a fruit tea. That sounds good.
I'll get you a fruit tea, man. So basically, right now you see in the cart, we filled up the cart with a green tea, black tea, and a fruit tea. And if we say confirm, it now says, hey, we're owning this amount. Do we still want to tip the bartender, yes or no, if this is at a bar? And we can say pay. And this is funny. So this is a common thing. We're actually working on this. There is in BTCPay Server, I can show you this. Whenever you create a new store, we give you the option to set a name, a currency default, and a preferred price source. So wherever BTCPay Server checks the price against, we're using something called CoinGecko as a standard, but we have a whole list. So luckily, it seems that Cut and knows, so we're gonna do the. I don't think they. Oh, where are they? Here are they. So we can set it to BitPay. Let's just create a whole new one. I'm just gonna call it tester. See if this is literally what's up. Do you know for sure, Kata, if XOF is not on CoinGecko?
I tried, but BitPay for sure.
Okay, BitPay for sure. Cool. So that's actually cool. So this same error happens more often, where CoinGecko gets overloaded by the amount of requests that it gets from out of our repository, because we check the price every time, right? They rate limit BTCPay Server users once in every time because there's so many requests happening. Yeah, that's a legitimate thing. So I first of all thought it was that, but thanks Scout for making me aware. I did not know that CoinGecko did not have this. So I'm really quickly gonna use every. Do they not? Why do they not?
Should have already done it.
Right, I think so too. Can we? Right.
Yeah.
I'll change it here.
That's easier.
Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I don't see it. BitPay, where are you?
God, there's a lot.
I don't see them. They're there.
Nice.
No, it's so the thing that just happened, we're checking the price source against this API. However, this API doesn't have the currency, so it couldn't really translate it. So we're now setting it to a different currency check, or at least a different place to check the currency. As Kauta knows that BitPay does have them, so we should be good this time around. Let's see if we can now do it. We wanted a green tea, a black tea, and a fruit tea. You want it, right, Parker? So let's see if it picks it up this time. It actually should do this.
See if I can pay it.
Well, no, it doesn't.
Huh. What the fuck?
Ah, the amount is too low.
Oh. Let's buy the whole store.
I'm gonna set it to US dollar. I'm sorry. Or we gotta. Can you tell me the price of a tea? Okay. What would you pay?
Yeah, what's the exchange?
Can we make it like
600 to 1 or 641 to 1? So like 650 or do 1,000.
we'll make it 650. 650.
Oh, see, yeah, okay. We could try that other symbol too, the FCFA.
I'll stick with this one. See what happens.
Doesn't like that. Oh, you changed all of them. Got it.
Yeah, I'm changing all of them. No worries, man. We're happy to be here. Happy to show what is possible and what you hopefully might use at some point as well, or be useful for you. Let's see if it picks it up this time.
It's good for us to see where the rough edges are too, that we can work on.
Are we now not getting the pictures again?
What the fuck?
That's funny. I'm really sorry. I'm gonna create it on
Yeah, sorry,
US
guys.
dollars. I have to. I'm sorry. I will look into this though, because this is very interesting to us too. Please make me a note if you want, Parker, for this.
Oh, yeah.
I do not want to forget. We're gonna set all this stuff real quick. Save, and we're gonna go back to this one. So we're gonna click some T's, and we're just gonna say confirm. This is weird.
Yeah, I'm
There we
seeing
go.
that before.
There we go. I just didn't allow lightning payment. That's okay. Anyway, to go back to the story, after I've added all the items to the cart you just saw, we're just gonna do it in Bitcoin for now. Um, it it creates the invoice, and basically it gives you the information of what needs to be paid, how much it's gonna cost. I see that I did not enable the lightning payment for this invoice, which I should do. But let's click this to real quick, so at least we get to see something.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Voltage has any. Oh, nice, you paid it.
Yeah, I did.
Just
So-
thinking if. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'll let you talk after. So basically, you just got the receipt or the invoice. It was paid for, and we always give you the receipt as well for it. So you get to see the amount paid, you get to see the transaction, etc., etc., and also where, of course, which point of sales app it was and where it came from. And we can now just go return to, and then we're back into the store. Go ahead, Parker. What was it that you want to talk about?
And now I've totally forgot. Shit, I'm sorry. It was. Something about Voltage. Oh, if Voltage, we should test a lightning payment if Voltage has channels or a channel or any incoming liquidity already connected, saying why Voltage is easier than other services if it already has some inbound liquidity.
Yeah, we can check. I probably think. At least I'm supposed to be able to check it. That's funny.
Interesting. Just thinking that might be one other kind of edge case.
Can you look into yours? I know that you run one.
Yes, it can.
Anyway, one thing that it does show, as we paid this invoice just now, is that we see in the dashboard that there is actual information too. So it's not just a nice view, it actually does show something. And it actually does split the sales for the store as well. We show you the different point of sales apps that exist, and we show you the split of, hey, this is being sold, these are the items that were sold, for what value they were sold. And then, of course, in the long term, you will see hopefully growth in how much wallet balance you actually have in your store, which you can also switch to US dollars, but we're going to leave it with BTC. Do you have anything, Parker?
I was just checking if there was any liquidity connected to Voltage if you do start accepting lightning payments as quick as we just set up that store, or if you need to get an inbound channel. Do you mind just doing just a test lightning invoice, see if I can just pay it? Actually, this is cool. What Bas is doing here is you don't need someone to have the front end of the store to create an invoice. If you just had BTCPay connected to your phone, or you had a node on your local network and you're accessing it on a phone, you could just tap create invoice and in person just put in the amount you want to invoice them.
It does have a. That's funny.
Let's see if I can hit it. 1 second. Okay, come on. Sorry, it's just connecting. Do we have any questions at this point too? We're waiting for a second. There we go.
Still no questions.
I tried to pay the invoice. Just
No, didn't.
no inbound capacity. Because when we were at when we had the learning session from Voltage, so they told us we had to buy some inbound liquidity. So maybe that's the issue.
That's definitely what we need.
Mm.
So to answer that question, you need inbound liquidity first.
Let me go into my Lightning thing.
Sorry, guy, for bringing the XRF because I knew this is something that would interest the participant because we are trying every time when you build a product. So the currency you show, it will be the currency like we know, you know. So I wanted just for them to know that it is possible to have the FCFA or XRF in the BTCPay server.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into it though. It's cool that you knew that it was in BitPay. I would have thought that CoinGecko would have had it too, but apparently not. Let me see if I can create a channel to this node real quick.
I could do that too. Oh, wait. Let's see how bad the map pool is right now, though.
So I think I just paid for this one. I think.
Nice.
At least I think it did. It says it is being paid for, so I guess we now gotta hope that it gets included into the next batch.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least it should be coming.
Let's try it.
Yeah, I don't think they're that quick. We can try it, but
Oh, wait, flip it over.
no, it's not there yet.
No. That's cool. You can buy liquidity in Voltage.
Yeah, so it will look like this. I believe you guys had a workshop on Voltage today as well. I think you've seen this dashboard then before too. And apparently right now I'm on 0. My status is submitted, but it's not put to my node. I think next potential batch is in about 4 minutes, so we'll see in a little bit.
Yeah, no route.
So
What do you think? Do you want to show how to create an invoice next, or anything we could keep doing in the stores?
So we can create either a crowdfund app or we can show you just the wallet side of what we are. I mean, BTCPay Server is in theory just a wallet as well. As this shows, whenever you click on the wallets and you click on Bitcoin, we will do the wallet side of everything too. So we do the labeling and we show you where it came from, so you can do accounting for your stores and all that stuff. It's all here. Yeah.
Now, I actually have a random question that may be will inspire or any other questions or answer some thoughts. If you wanted to use BTC Pay to have multiple watch-only XPubs, could you have a store, or each individual store has its own XPub? Now, well, you have a dash. No, you wouldn't see the dashboards together, but each one would have its own individual. Like you could monitor, say you had 4 cold cards and you didn't want to use anyone else's software. You could have an XPub as each store and use that as like a watch only or a way to manage your hardware wallets without using any other software, right?
Good question, Momar. What is the payouts tab? So payouts is something that we use for the pool payments. Pool payments is something that is not something really known, but I will show you what it does. So maybe I'm using my BTCPay server as we just proposed as a wallet, but I want to pay Parker for something. Parker did, I don't know, 2 hours of work for me, and I want him to be able to get his money whenever I want him to get his money, right? What I can do is I can create a pool payment in that case, and I'll say payment to Parker. Let's just name it something easy. And I owe Parker $100. I'm not going to check this box right now. I will explain later on why, but it says automatically approve claims. And I gave everybody the keys of this server. So I'm not going to do this right now, although there is not $100 in there, even though I'm just not going to check it for now. But say it's a payment to Parker, as I said, for $100, and payment to Parker because he worked 2 hours for me. Now, you can imagine you could make this up a little bit nicer where it looks like a real invoice and there's actual work on here and everything, and that you need to pay out somebody else. I'm going to click create, and basically what you now see is we created it's not an invoice as we call it, a pool payment. So let's call it a pool payment for real. And what we can now do is click view. And what I can simply now do is click on copy this link, and I can send this into the chat, and everybody can see this, as in, hey, I need, or I have a payment to Parker. And if you look at the top of this page, it says enter destination to claim your funds. What this means is you can put in your Bitcoin address there, and in this case, Parker would put in his on-chain address. He clicks or he types in the amount. I'm gonna be sure he's gonna claim the full $100 because he worked 2 hours for me, right? So he's gonna hit the $100, and then he hits claim funds. And as soon as he does this, he's gonna claim funds out of my BTCPay server instead of me actually sending those funds out. Because he's doing this action, and BTCPay server has a payment processor in itself, a automated payout processor. He's able to pull funds out of my wallet. It's quite the opposite of what you would usually do, but this is something that allows you to do refunds, for example. Whenever we're just going to leave it as is, I'm just going to archive it just to be sure. Whenever you have an invoice, and we luckily have 2 by now, there is always the possibility that your customer might want a refund, right? They might need their funds back because the item that you send them is broken or whatever happened to it, and they request a refund from you. And basically, this refund flow that we made is based upon this pool payments method. So if we say issue a refund, I'm just going to say we're going to give them fully back the full amount. But I'm going to denominate it in dollars because, well, he wants dollars back, right? Or at least the value of his dollars, not the Bitcoin. Maybe I save a little bit because of exchange rate changing, et cetera, et cetera. I can be a little sneaky if I just want to send him back whatever he gave me, which I should do as a good store, I would say. I send him back the original amount of Bitcoin that was in there. So in this case, that was what, 21K sats. And then I'm going to say create a refund. And this looks very familiar now, right? to what we just saw as a pull payment. Basically, what you can now do, and anyone might do this, however, the claim might not work because I might not put in the keys to actually make it work, but you could. Someone could now claim this 21K sats and get this back as a refund. So that's basically what a pull payment does. And once you do this, I don't have a address. Do we have a? I need a. Let me see if I can quickly.
So I got a quick thought. You could, if you had $100 there, I could claim $20 5 times, right?
Yes, you could split that up into multiple. Yes, you can do this with this one too if you want. If anyone has a address on there, you might fill it in. Otherwise, I'm just.
So imagining this too is almost like a budget for a contractor or a allowance for a family member or somebody. So if you don't have that automatically approved check, when someone goes to claim the funds, there's a second, like you have to approve that claim, right?
Yes, yeah. I'll show you in a bit. But I need a address real quick. So I'm just generating a address from the Bitcoin Smiles crowdfund. You know what? I'll pull it from the crowdfund from here. Give me 1 second. Where is it? Is there a custom contribution one? Yes, there is. Continue, copy the address. Let me change this address. And then I'm gonna say claim funds. I'm gonna play around that this is my address. It's not, it's an address, as I will show you here. It comes from the Dakar crowdfund. I shouldn't have moved my thing too much. Then I hit claim funds. And as you can see, it now says, hey, there's a claim, the destination address where it goes to, the method, which is on-chain in this case, and the amount that was requested. Well, it's the full amount, as we can also see up here. And it's saying awaiting payment right now in this view. I'm going to make my life a little bit easier so I don't have to click back too many times. So to go back to the payouts, now we have a claim of funds and these land in the payouts tab. So in the awaiting of payment is now a payment because it was a refund and I claimed those, and these are now in my payouts and they're waiting to be paid out. However, because we had a watch only wallet in this store, because again, this was hosted and you were not allowed to have a hot wallet, therefore these payments will never be automated because you always need your seed phrase to actually sign the transaction, right? Your server, whenever it is only in watch only mode, there is no seed phrase, so it's not able to do this transaction immediately. Again, if you host this yourself and you are in control of your keys and you have the keys and everything on your BTCPay server running, you can make this a fully automated process where you do not have to worry anymore of, hey, I gave out this link. Do I now need to approve every payout that comes in? Now you can set this with a timer of whatever interval in minutes that you want, from 1 minute to an hour or whatever you like. And every time that it clicks over into this timing, it will check in this payouts tab if there's anything open. And if that's the case, it will automatically sign those transactions and send them back to the people that claimed their funds. For now, because it's watch only, I got to do it by hand. So we're going to do send the selected payouts, which goes to the destination address. As you can see, everything is pre-filled out. We're going to say subtract the fees from the amount because otherwise we don't have enough funds in here. Again, because this is a hot wallet, we have to sign it, and I'm going to do something that is definitely not recommended, but it is what it is right now. I can't do it any way else to make this work real quick. I'm going to do this, which is not good, and then I hope I had the right one. No, I did not. I picked the wrong one. It is why
store 1, store
exactly.
3. Nice.
So basically, after I signed with my keys right now, we're still doing the same payouts. I can now say broadcast the transaction, and if we now go with a refresh, it should be slowly going to be in progress because I signed it. We can see it here probably. Did it update? No, yeah, it's not there yet. Okay. Should move. I did sign it, right?
I watched it.
I think so too.
There was support on for your payout, but
What did I do wrong? Did I miss something? Yeah, I was just too quick, apparently. Now it says it is being sent out. It did recognize it. It did see that we made the transaction because we can see in the recent transactions that we have a minus now of the same amount. I wonder why it didn't move. Interesting.
I just received some pounds.
Yeah, I know you did. You should.
Thanks.
nice.
So it did work.
Yeah, it did.
The UI might not.
Yeah, I see. So I can actually show you that it actually works. The invoice that I created on the Dakar Days is now paid for.
Thanks for the donation.
Nice.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I only wish that it actually showed what we're trying to show you here right now.
Yeah.
But I hope it does answer Momar's question of what is the payouts tab in here. Payouts is literally it's the bucket where if there is refunds or if you do pull payments where you let people drag money out of your wallet, they will end up in the payouts tab, and you as the administrator of this store are able to say, yes, I verify this one, or no, I do not verify this one, or this is wrong, or et cetera, and they will be in this nice payouts page and should go from progress to completed, etc. I wonder if it's not there yet. Okay. But that's the payouts. So yeah, it's a bit of a oddball, pull payments in general, the concept of it, because it's kind of weird that somebody is able to pull Bitcoin out of your wallet, right? That is not really normal thinking way. However, as I said, for a refund as a store, it makes sense that you're able to send back funds to a user if he requests to do so. So this is why we made the concept of pull payments.
I've personally used pull payments before, and it is the exact opposite feeling of an invoice too. Whereas someone as like a contractor like myself and make a lot of videos for people, it's a little hard to get paid at the very end. But if someone shows you an invoice at the beginning that this is what you're getting, it really speeds you up and makes you. Sorry, I just saw this comment come in. Maximum time of invoice on Lightning. Bas, that's a good question for you. Can we change the expiration times?
Yeah, you can set certain expiration times yourself. So there isn't really a timer for it. I think you can fully set them yourself.
Oh, actually, if you do a post request and you're actually creating the invoice via API, you can do the redirect URL redirect, the invoice expiration time.
Here we are. I was looking for where it was in the settings. There's too many settings nowadays.
Nice.
But invoices you can set to expire, etc. And then you can also set the minimum acceptable expiration time for bolt 11s for the refunds, for example. So we do give you the options to set your own timing scale, so to say. Does that answer the question? So it's not per se just the Lightning invoice, it's the invoice of your store that you're timing with this. So I hope that makes sense.
But Aman, sorry, you can take the mic and you can talk directly if you want.
Yeah, if anyone has any
Yeah, feel free.
questions, go unmute and ask anything.
Yeah, I would like to know the maximum time of invoicing in Lightning Network if I broadcast the Lightning payment.
Oh, okay. So you're more looking for how long can it take for your Lightning payment to be on the network before it's settled?
Yes.
It should be near instant, hopefully. However, it can take a little bit, but I believe that within, don't pin me on it. I think there's a timer of like 5 minutes or so that it should be either denounced, as in this is not a valid or legitimate transaction we can take on the network. There is little ways that you can trick it and break it, but rather don't do that. I don't have a strict answer for you in that regard. But in general, your Lightning payment should be settled in near real time, and a invoice should not be lasting longer than an hour most of the time for Lightning invoices.
Okay, thank you.
So if you look at our store settings right here, as standard, we set them, for example, to 15 minutes whenever the user creates an invoice. So he clicked on, I don't know, whatever item you have in your store, and he says, I want to pay for it. You get to see that invoice screen. And basically, he has about 15 minutes to pay for this. However, it might take longer, right? If it's an on-chain payment, it might go over that time because the block hasn't mined and you don't get the confirmation yet on your transaction. That doesn't matter. We don't really care for that. We care about that first initial, hey, we see the transaction and we actually know it's coming. That has to be in this timer slot. Does that make sense?
Okay, it is clear. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Any other questions that we might be able to answer?
Yeah, we got another 5 minutes left. And I wonder if that's just something you could set in LND, because I'm assuming if you can't find a route, it's going to time out.
Yeah, it will do this for you. There is a certain set, but I don't know the numbers exactly out of my head.
So we just have 4 minutes left. I just will share maybe the directory where guys can find a lot of examples what can be done with BTCPay Server. So just to make a quick review, so guys, Bas and Parker showed you what BTCPay Server is. So you can host it yourself in a server, or you can use Voltage. I would advise you to use Voltage for the hackathon, but after the hackathon, maybe to host on your own server. It is safer. So inside BTCPay Server, you can see like they have a beautiful UI, really beautiful. So you have a dashboard with everything that is happening. You can create multiple, it's a dark mode. Yeah. So
I have to show it off. I'm sorry, man. I like it way more than the than the light mode. I don't like it, man. But
no, I have a dark mode one. So you can create multiple stores. Inside those stores, you can create multiple apps. Those apps can be cables, can be point of sales, can be a donation page, crowdfunding page. You can do a lot of things with BTCPay Server. And I think the most beautiful thing is it is open source. So you can contribute to BTCPay Server if you want. You can,
yeah,
if you
if I
see,
can jump in, Kauta.
yeah.
we're fully open source. So if you feel like, hey, I can create multimedia, I can write a blog article, or I can write code, or I can do beautiful stuff with UI or UX, always, always, always knock on our door. Feel free to send us messages and join in chat.btcpayserver.org, which is our Mattermost. And truly, we are so open source that if you want, take our whole stack tomorrow or tonight even, and build $1 million business tomorrow. We'll be here and supporting you and helping you out and building new updates for you. It's literally that open source. And if you feel like you want to contribute or whatever, please, please, please knock on our door. We're so happy to see you come in and help out with whatever we can.
Yeah, I was remembering, I just remember like the day when Tesla wanted to accept Bitcoin for buying Tesla, they used BTCPay, even if they didn't say it, you know. So BTCPay is really important. So guy, I hope you learned a lot. So Bas and Parker, there's a question we used to ask to every person that came here. What Bitcoin is for you? What does it represent to you?
Oh, I love that question. I'll go first. Bitcoin is freedom to me. As an American, it makes me so sad what our military has done all around the world. And if I can opt out of that fiat industrial military complex petrodollar system and join the fucking world in a new monetary system, I'm here for that. And that's will keep me here every day, and it's kept me alive. I love Bitcoin so much. Thank you for having us.
That's great. That's great.
So for me, it is the ultimate payment rail. I can chat with you right now, and if I think you're doing great work, I can pay you. I don't have to think about, does my bank support your bank, or is the government gonna hunt my ass because I sent money to some country? Hell no, I send it to you as a person, between you and me. And I think it's a real strong thing. And yeah, it's, as I said, it's for me the ultimate payment rail and freedom tool, in that sense that I get to decide where I distribute my value and find my value as well. So yeah, that's my point. And as Parker said, so much thanks for having us. It's great, man. We're really happy to see this crowd. And we're here for questions. If there's anything that you guys want to shoot us as questions, you can find us on Twitter. Me at Bas_02, and Parker is at WebWorthy. And as I said, we're always happy to receive questions, man. Really.
Yeah, I was so happy. I wanted to make you some donation. I went to the directory page, but I didn't find you. I found Pavlinek donation page. So I advise you guys to add your page there. So if you want to retribute, so we'll be able to do it, you know.
That's touching. Thank you very much.
So do not hesitate to send something in our chat we have on Twitter. So thank you guys. This is the end. So for the other, I would ask you to stay because I have something to talk about you for the next of the hackathon. So guys, Bas and Parker, I will say thank you too. And yeah, let's see you next time. I hope.
Thank you guys. We hope to see you in the Mattermost chat, and good luck with the rest of the hackathon.
Thank you guys.
See you. Bye.
Les autres, il faut rester. Il faut pas partir pour les autres.